Well, welcome to week 7. And this week we really revisit the look at data, because by now you should have a clear idea in your mind about your leadership project. You should have submitted part A of assessment task 1 and got feedback, and in fact assessment task 1 should, if it's not been submitted yet, be not very far away from being submitted. The issue now, I suppose, is with about 3 weeks of the school term left, you really should be right into the collection and analysing of the data around your leadership project. Can I stress again, it's a leadership project, not a research undertaking, so I certainly don't want transcripts of interviews or a whole lot of data analysis in this in the project from here on. This is really about you've come up with your inquiry question, your problem of practice. You've now done a literature review, and you've designed a project around, well, what does this mean in my work setting, in my leadership role? What sort of outcomes have I been able to achieve? We start this week by doing just a revisit into whether your project is really looking at quantitative data or qualitative data. I'm assuming, given the time frames, the limit of opportunity to really get into deep analysis of quantitative data, most of the projects will be around qualitative data. So most of them will be looking at things like, it'll be a case study approach. Perhaps you're going to do some observations of students or colleagues. Maybe it's interviewing or even doing a focus group type analysis. As I said, if you're going to interview, I don't want the transcripts. We don't need a whole lot of data in appendices in your project here. If you're going to do interviews or focus groups, just use your iPhone to collect, just record them, and that'll give you the opportunity to go through, try to identify themes, and maybe pull out some key quotes or comments that people have made. If you're doing observations, you might even be using your iPhone to record staff meetings or what's happening in a classroom, professional learning sessions. Again, these aren't to be submitted as part of the assessment task, but could be useful sources of data for you. If you are using quantitative data, that might be, you might have developed a survey for staff, for example, a Likert scale, 5-point scale, and you might be assessing after an intervention what's the difference between the attitudes of your staff at point A and point B, for example. You might also be using quantitative data. It could be student data, it might be pre and post test data, and you might be looking at the impact of a particular intervention in the classroom. For example, if your teachers are posting learning objectives for particular lessons, does that increase understanding from your students? So, as I said, we start by looking at a couple of little videos that revisit the type of project you're undertaking, and then just honing in and giving some thought to, are you on the right track with the type of data you're going to collect. Critically, with only a few weeks to go with the opportunity to gather data, remember you'll have the end of term coincides with the holiday period for schools. I'm suggesting that is your write-up time. So a few more weeks to gather the data, then you've got time to analyse it and write up your project. Do factor in time for that organising of the data, especially if you're doing transcripts or interviews, because they can be very time consuming to pull out themes, to think about what people have said, to really ascertain whether there's been an impact from your project or not. So, not long to go. Be gathering the data, be analysing the data, and preparing for your write-up. If you've got any queries or questions along the way, please don't hesitate to be in touch. But good luck with the project now. This is really where rubber hits the road.